Welcome back to Cosmic Comics. Today we're moving up the cosmic food chain by looking at various extraterrestrial cosmic entities that exist primarily within only the Earth 616 universe. The next video will deal with various extra-dimensional beings. Please note that this series isn't going into much depth on any single subject, but instead is intended to lay out the major players and their place within the Marvel Omniverse. First up are the Builders. This race was introduced to us in Avengers Volume 5. The Builders claim to be the oldest living things in the cosmos, having been around since the dawn of everything. I'm not aware of them claiming to exist prior to the Earth 616 universe, so both the Celestials and Galactus are both older. The Builders worshipped the universe itself as a goddess, but eventually they got tired of worshipping and took off to the stars. The Builders claim to have created systems to direct, shape, and control the structure of space and time. They make this claim, but never do much to back it up. The claims they do make have more to do with cultivating and destroying other species than structuring space and time. In order to do this, they created 3 new species: Alephs, Gardeners, and Abyss. The Alephs were tasked with destroying any and all life they deemed unfit for progress, and they did this for hundreds of millions of years before finding a world they considered worthy of evolution. Once a worthy world was found, the Aleph would release 2 eggs. One egg would contain a Gardener, and the other an Abyss. The Gardeners are tasked with growing life, and Abyss are tasked with judging the Gardener's work. The Gardeners see themselves as artists. They believe their changes to a planet are bettering the worlds they visit. They bring these changes about via an organic delivery system, which is delivered as a bomb from space. Once the bomb explodes, a virus designed by the Gardener for that specific planet begins to remap the genetic code of the species on the planet. After the Gardener's work is completed, the Abyss passes judgment on the worthiness of the planet. If the Gardener's work is judged worthy, it is henceforth left alone. If it is judged unworthy, then their Aleph destroys all life on the planet. It's interesting to note that the Gardener ex nihilo claims to use God particles made from primordial bits of the universe to create a perfect version of a human whom he names the New Adam. Real unique name there. We already have Adam Warlock, Atom. I'm sure there's others. It's unknown if this is the same kind of god stuff that Demogorgon expelled from his body in his transformation back to Adam. Next up are the Celestials. The Celestials were created by the first firmament. The Celestials we've seen to date in the Earth 616 universe are colored and differ from the black and white Celestials that the first firmament named aspirants. The multicolored Celestials were seen as rebels for wanting their creations to evolve, change, and die. The first firmament declared that this was both madness and sacrilege. This led to a war between the Celestials and the aspirants. The war ended with the Celestials detonating their weapons and shattering the first firmament to pieces. This gave birth to the second cosmos, which was the first multiverse. This second cosmos went through many rebirths, with classic Marvel taking place in the 7th rebirth and modern Marvel now moving forward in the 8th rebirth. The closest we've come to learning the true nature of the Celestials was told to us via the Dreaming Celestial. According to him, the Celestials serve an entity known as the Fulcrum. Planets that are populated by a viable base species possessing the requisite neurological potential are chosen for cultivation. A first host is sent to the planet who changes 100 specimens of a single species into Eternals and 100 specimens of that same species into deviants. The Eternals are more powerful, but the deviants are more genetically diverse and can reproduce at a much faster rate. Then the Celestials leave the planet and species to their own devices. After 19 cosmic cycles, I'm not certain how long a period of time that is, the planet is ready for reaping. The energy of the base species is then harvested and channeled into the Fulcrum by the Horde. The Horde is a massive swarm whose power rivals that of even the Celestials. If the planet is tipped in favor of the Eternals, then the life force of the base species is transferred to the Celestials. If the planet is tipped in favor of the Deviants, then the life force of the base species is transferred into the Horde. Basically, the Celestials are instruments of creation and life, and the Horde are instruments of termination and death. When Makari asks the Dreaming Celestial what the point of all this is, he's told that the Celestial's function serves the Fulcrum. He goes on to state that every component in the universe is in a constant state of flux, being pushed and pulled, but always remaining in balance, and that everything exists in this way to serve the Fulcrum. In a future video, I'll cover the 4 separate hosts of the Celestials that came to Earth, but for right now, let's take a quick look at the primary Celestials and their individual function. We've already discussed Tiamat the Dreaming Celestial. The others in alphabetical order are Ereshkigal, the Judge; Ashima, the Listener; Devron, the Experimenter; Eson, the Searcher; Exitar, the Executioner; Gamiel, the Manipulator; Gaminon, the Gatherer; Hargan, the Measure; Jemiah, the Analyzer; Nezar, the Calculator; Oneg, the Prober; Skathan, the Approver; Tefral, the Surveyor; Zirin, the Tester. And this last one is listed as a Celestial in a few places, so I'm including it. The one above all. But more on that in a later video. Moving on, we've got the Elders of the Universe. These are some of the oldest beings in the universe. The Elders come from some of the first planets to evolve sentient life after the Big Bang, and each is the sole survivor of their world. Each is said to possess a fraction of the power primordial, which is primordial energies of the Big Bang that still permeate our universe. All of the Elders presumably found some way to extend their lives and tap into the power primordial billions of years ago. Following the after effects of the Contest of Champions, Death was tricked by the Grand Master into forbidding the Elders entry to her realm, effectively making them immortal. In addition to all this, each Elder of the universe has their own personal obsession that they have spent billions of years focusing on, and most are now referred to by the name of their obsession instead of their real name. It's thought that these obsessions are what gave many of them the will to live for so long. It is said that there are thousands of Elders of the universe, but just a handful have appeared in the pages of Marvel. Here is a list of 16 known Elders of the universe. Indwygast, the Grand Master; Tanalir Tivan, the Collector; Trico Slatterus, the Champion of the Universe; Gopetperdon, the Runner; Ord Zion, the Gardener; Toth Ki, the Contemplator; Kamo Tharn, the Possessor; Rubana Quermo, the Caregiver; Kort Zotinus, the Traitor; Mat Pakal, the Obliterator; Sigin Galio, the Astronomer; Samathan Rambunazeth, the Explorer; Chirina Ahina, the Promoter; the Judicator; Father Time. Then there are another 5 who might be considered Elders of the Universe, but due to different caveats might also be excluded. The first of these is the Collector's wife, Matani, who, unlike other known Elders, is dead, and one could argue that until she passed away, neither her nor her husband were Elders of the Universe. because there were at least 2 survivors of their planet, and the Collector didn't take up collecting in order to give his life purpose until after she had passed. That brings up the next problem child, the Collector's daughter, Lady Karina Korvac. Being a child of 2 elders from the same planet, even if born off-world, once again raises questions of the Collector being the sole survivor of his species. Additionally, Karina seems to lack the obsession of the other elders. Gara has referred to herself as an elder of the universe, but also seems to be lacking the individual obsession shown by the other elders. As the sole survivor of her race and being over 12 billion years old, she could be considered qualified. The Stranger. It is assumed that he is an elder of the universe, but his origins are shrouded in mystery, and he has been known to spread misinformation about his own origins. And lastly, Ego the Living Planet, who has been adopted and accepted as a member of the Elders by the Elders, but come on, he is a planet and not the sole survivor of one. He also seems to lack the single-minded obsession shown by the other Elders. The reason why I put Ego at the end is if he's considered an elder, then so should Cloud, a sentient nebula in space who can change her shape and join the Defenders for a short time while in the form of a human as both Carol Faber and Donnie Milligan. Next in line are the Watchers who, just like the Builders, claim to be the oldest species in the universe. The Watchers are primarily known for observing as much of the observable universe as possible without interfering. Early in the Watchers' history, they reached out to another race and gave them technological advances, which led to the species destroying itself because they weren't ethically ready to accept that level of responsibility. Basically, they got nukes, and they blew themselves up. It was due to this act that the Watchers took on their stance of accumulating knowledge and observation without intervention. This philosophical approach has been disregarded by the Watchers many times in the Marvel Universe, and oftentimes there are repercussions for their interference. It has been alluded to that these repercussions may come about due to the Fulcrum's correcting mechanism. I'm going to wrap this one up with a couple of Galactus-related entries. First, the Harrow is a parasite that feeds off of cosmic disasters and stowed away on Galactus' world ship, Ta-2. After being exposed by Richard Rider and the Silver Surfer, Galactus killed the parasite. Finally, there is Gali, or Galacta, daughter of Galactus, who has the same powers as her father. I'm not going to go into any more detail on this character, as executive editor Tom Brevoort has stated that Galacta is not part of official Marvel continuity, but I thought she deserved a mention. Let me know if I left out anybody who should have been included in the comments section below. All of the others I could think of operate outside of Earth 616 universe or will be covered in the next episode when we look at the extra-dimensional beings that interact with the Earth 616 universe. Thanks for watching. Feel free to hit any of the buttons below. I'm out.